I've got my palette here to do my 3D foundation. I'm using this brush, which is actually called the 3D brush. So we're gonna get started with some contour. So I'm gonna start with the bigger end of my 3D brush here, and starting with my contour, which right now my contour of choice is Astoria contour, but I might be switching that up soon to something else. So I'm just gonna start at the top of my forehead and I'm just gonna kind of stamp it on. Now contour is a part of my foundation. So I am not applying this after applying a full base layer or anything else. This is my foundation. It's one of the colors, which I think is brilliant. Again, I'm working smarter, not harder. Contouring was never something I did before. I am not a makeup guru or anything like that. In fact, makeup actually kind of intimidates me. I'm not a makeup artist. I have the label of Saint Artist just because I am an affiliate, but that is just a title. Okay, so, and I'm starting on the top, like right where kind of my ear is, the top of my cheekbone, because you can go right underneath or right here, but the higher you go, if you go right on top of your cheekbone, it's going to create that lift. And we, especially as we get older, really want to have that. We really want to have that lift. And then for blending, I just like to kind of blend it back into my hairline. And when I'm on the cheekbone, I just like to do a blend up. So again, we're not dragging anything down. Finally, the third step of my contouring is I like to go under the jawline. So I'm going to switch to the other brush here, the other end of the brush, of this brush. You could still use the other one as well. I'm going to go right under that earlobe. It's easier when you don't have earrings on. And then you're going to go right underneath that jawline. Basically, we are just playing with our natural shadows. What I'm doing with this 3D foundation is basically just making sure that my face stays three-dimensional and enhancing how our faces are already designed to be. So what I love about this makeup system is that, I mean, it can be as natural as glam as you want, but because it's cream, it actually takes on the look of a second skin. It still looks like skin, and depending on the kind of brush you use, you can get different levels of coverage, and you can also build up your coverage so you can blend it in and add a little bit more if you need to, but less is best, and then you just go from there. Also, an extra tip for you, if you're getting photos done, get ready in your camera like I'm doing right now, because it's going to give you the right amount that's going to show up on your photos. So you actually do want to get ready in your camera. You can have a mirror off to the side, which I do as well, just to check. That's a trick that you can do. Okay, so next I'm going to go into my main foundation shade, which right now is Sandy. And the brushes are really designed not to hold onto the makeup. So I can use that same brush, and I'm just going to go where I don't already have makeup on. So that means kind of the beard area. So this is my main color that's closely matched to where I'm at right now. I have a feeling pretty soon I'll be moving into my winter shade, which is Aspen, but we're still going with Sandy for now. And I'm just gonna tap it in sort of to the sides of the forehead. I'm kind of leaving that middle spot open on my face because that's where my brightening highlight's gonna go. We're ready for the brightening highlight next, and I'm actually gonna switch to a different brush. So I could keep using that brush and just use this end, which would be fine. But as somebody who has a lot of brushes, I tend to like to go with my favorite ones for favorite things. So I'm using the small end of the blend brush. It's just my preference. And this brightening shade is the lightest shade in the collection from Saint, which is called Versailles. Normally when I match you, I'm going to match you to a couple shades lighter than your main, just to kind of keep everything fairly cohesive. You can see that those are not at all anywhere close together, but I just like to experiment with different shades. I can show you here, actually, I have several that I use. These are all ones that I go between, as well as this one here. So it just depends on my mood and what I want to experiment with, but there's a lot of ones that you can wear and it looks just fine. I just like this one because it just is a little bit more of a pop, because it is such a contrast, and that's just my preference. Again, a lot of the things for contour and brightening, there is a bit of a science to it, but it's also some preference, and a lot of us can wear more than one shade. So I'm going to go now, I did the center of my forehead here, kind of like a little tree branch, and then I'm going the inner corner of the eye. I'm not piling anything under my eye. We're going to stay away from that and just leave that be. And then I'm going to the outer corner here. Now, if you have a lot of fine lines and wrinkles, you don't want to go with a super light shade. You want to go with something a little less contrasty. And you might not even want to go super light there. Again, this is what I can help you with, because there is a little bit of a science to it. It's also sometimes a little bit of just experimenting. And then I'm going to go down the center of the nose. And the reason for this shade, and as the final step of our foundation, is this brings light, like this plays with how, so when I'm sitting in front of a window, the light naturally hits me in the center of my face and creates that glow. But now I have these 3 different shades and it is creating a 3-dimensional effect, which is in fact what our faces are. They are 3-dimensional. Now this brush is called the blend brush, so the fluffy end is also perfect for finishing everything off and just blending it all in. So that's what I'm doing there. And next I'm going to show you just a couple extra things you can do with your contour and brightening highlight before we move on to our lip and cheek colors.